At 7:20 a.m., a neighbor opened their door to a man drenched in blood, claiming tragedy had struck inside. What unfolded in that quiet suburban home would shock the city, reveal the hidden dangers of domestic violence, and leave a family shattered, seeking justice in a system that often fails victims. At precisely 7:20 a.m. on March 12, 2025, the quietude of Houston's Oak Forest neighborhood was shattered. A neighbor opened the door to find a man drenched in blood, his hands raised in apparent surrender. He was Chance Zane Chavez, and he claimed that a tragedy had just unfolded inside his home. But what tragedy? And why was he covered in blood? This chilling scene marks the beginning of a harrowing tale of domestic violence. Kristen Chavez, a 32-year-old paralegal with dreams of becoming an attorney, was found lifeless in her bedroom, the victim of a brutal assault. Her husband, Chance, had allegedly struck her multiple times with a clothing iron, a weapon that had been broken in the process. The crime scene was a testament to the violence that had unfolded within the confines of what was supposed to be a safe. Kristen Chavez was more than just a paralegal. She was a beacon of ambition, compassion, and resilience. Born and raised in Houston, she had always been drawn to the legal field. Her family described her as brilliant, someone who loved the law and harbored ambitions of becoming an attorney. Kristen had chosen a profession that reflected her deepest values. The paralegal field in Texas is highly regarded, requiring either formal education through ABAB-approved programs or extensive experience combined with specialized training. For someone like Kristen, who possessed both intellectual curiosity and a genuine desire to help others, it was the perfect stepping stone toward her ultimate goal of practicing law. Her work involved conducting legal research, drafting documents, case management, and providing crucial support to attorneys, skills that would serve her well in her planned transition to law school. But what truly defined Kristen wasn't just her professional aspirations, it was her heart. Her brother, Devin, would later say, "My sister was my best friend, my ride or die." Her mother, Laura Bell, remembered her daughter as someone who was very logical. She was the voice of reason. She was headstrong in a positive way. Crime Stoppers advocate Andy Kahan, who worked closely with her family after her death, would recall people were drawn to her. She had a way of making everybody think they were her friend. And then there were her dogs, four beloved companions, who weren't just pets to Kristen. They were her children. Her sister Julia would explain, she doesn't have any children, so these dogs are her babies. Among them was a 10-year-old dachshund named Peaches, who held a special place in Kristen's heart. Kristen lived in Houston's Oak Forest neighborhood with her husband, 34-year-old Chance Zane Chavez, in what should have been a sanctuary of love and security. Their home was located on Emma Forest Street, in a community known for being family-friendly and welcoming. To outsiders, Kristen and Chance seemed like any other married couple building a life together in this idyllic setting. They appeared to have found their place in a community that prided itself on being unofficially Houston's most friendly neighborhood. Kristen's mother, Laura, would later reveal a truth that cut to the heart of their family's pain. "My daughter was incredibly talented, loving, full of integrity, and so much more." As investigators pieced together the truth about Kristen's life with Chance, her brother Devin offered a glimpse into what the family had observed, saying she tried to see the good in people, even though they tried to take advantage of that. This pattern of Kristen's generous nature being, prosecutor Steve Walsh would reveal during court proceedings that the couple had a history of domestic violence. This detail painted a troubling picture of violence that existed in the shadows. The hidden nature of this abuse reflects a devastating reality about domestic violence. For Kristen, her family would later recognize the warning signs had been there. But domestic violence has a way of making victims feel responsible for the abuse, making them believe they can fix their partner. Kristen's natural tendency to see the good in people and her belief in the power of love and commitment likely made it even harder for her to accept that her marriage was dangerous. March 12, 2025, began like any other Wednesday morning in the quiet Oak Forest neighborhood. The sun had just risen, casting a warm glow over the tree-lined streets. Birds chirped in the distance, and the world seemed at peace. But within the walls of Kristen and Chance's home, a storm was brewing. According to investigators and family members, Chance had begun his horrific plan hours before police arrived. Just hours before she was found dead, Kristen Chavez stole Kristen's 4 beloved dogs and abandoned them on the side of the Katy freeway. Among them was Peaches, the 10-year-old dachshund, who was particularly special to Kristen. The timing of this cruelty was deliberate. By taking and abandoning her dogs, Chance was attacking Kristen's heart before he attacked her body. For someone who loved animals as deeply as Kristen did, when police arrived at Emma Forest Street, they found a scene that defied the peaceful reputation of the Oak Forest community. Upon arrival, they observed a male, Chavez, standing in the doorway with his hands up. The male had blood on his arms, legs, and clothing. The official police report stated the sight was so disturbing that officers immediately secured Chance in the back of a patrol car before beginning their search of the house. But the blood on Chance's, a female, Chavez's wife, was discovered unresponsive in a bedroom. She had suffered blunt force trauma to her body and was pronounced deceased by paramedics. The crime scene told a story of unimaginable violence. Investigators determined that Chance had used a clothing iron to repeatedly strike Kristen. The iron was found broken in 2 pieces near her body. The room also had several holes in the wall, according to court paperwork. What investigators pieced together was a scene of domestic terror. The evidence suggested that this wasn't a crime of sudden passion. When Houston police arrived at the Chavez residence on Emma Forest Street, a neighbor had called, reporting a man drenched in blood standing at their door. That man was Chance Chavez, Kristen's husband. Officers immediately secured him, noting the crimson stains across his clothing, the blood smeared along his arms and legs. Investigators encountered a scene that would haunt them long after leaving. Kristen Chavez lay unresponsive in the bedroom, her life violently taken. Police investigator officer Miguel Torres later said, "Scenes like this remind you that violence doesn't always announce itself." The meticulous theft and abandonment of Kristen's beloved dogs, including Peaches, indicated premeditation. Investigators described the murder as calculated, emotionally charged, and designed to inflict maximum pain. Kristen's death left her family reeling. Her mother, Laura Bell, described the grief as unbearable, like losing a part of yourself. Her brother, Devin, echoed the sentiment, recalling Kristen as my ride or die, my best friend, and lamented the cruel irony that the person who was supposed to protect her had taken her life. Attention turned to Kristen's 4 beloved dogs. Her family launched a desperate search, aided by neighbors, friends, and social media campaigns. 3 of the 4 pets were rescued, thanks to the tireless efforts of the community. Yet heartbreak struck again when Peaches, the 10-year-old dachshund, who had been Kristen's special companion, was found dead alongside the side of a road, a victim of Chance's cruelty. The emotional toll was compounded by a stark reality. Neighbors organized support networks, shared resources online, and held vigils to honor Kristen's memory. Social media campaigns amplified awareness, encouraging local residents to check in on friends and family and to recognize warning signs of abuse. Crime Stoppers advocate Andy Kahan praised the community efforts, noting, "This collective response shows that when a community comes together, it can save lives and offer solace in the face of tragedy, even amidst loss." These actions reflected Kristen's enduring legacy, a life defined by connection, love, and compassion. Her story, tragic as it is, became a rallying point for awareness, advocacy, and action against domestic violence, reminding us that in the face of darkness, the arrest of Chance Chavez sent shockwaves through the Oak Forest community. When Houston police secured him at the scene, he appeared incoherent, blood covering his clothes, and his calm demeanor belied the horror that had unfolded just moments before. Initially, Chance was charged with murder, yet his bond was set at only $250,000, a decision that sparked outrage among Kristen's family, friends, and advocates. Chance's court appearance revealed further tensions. He initially refused to leave his jail cell, prompting authorities to bring in a specialized team of deputies. The judge eventually raised the bond to $500,000, still significantly less than the $1 million prosecutors had requested. Kristen's family watched with apprehension, acutely aware that even with an increased bond, a man capable of such brutality could potentially walk free while awaiting trial. Crime Stoppers advocate Andy Kahan expressed frustration with the limitations of the legal system, stating, "We want judges to have more discretion in cases like this, when a defendant poses a clear threat to public safety." Across the United States, many domestic violence perpetrators are released pre-trial. According to the Bureau of Justice statistics, nearly 60% of defendants in serious felony cases, including domestic violence, are released on bond before trial. Critics argue that public safety and the protection of victims must also be paramount. Ethically, the case raises pressing questions. Should bond ever be allowed in instances of domestic homicide? Could stricter pretrial detention policies prevent further tragedies? Legal scholars note that balancing the rights of the accused with the safety of the community is complex. Yet cases like Kristen's illustrate the devastating consequences. When the system underestimates the risk of domestic violence, Kristen's family continues to fight not only for justice in her case, but also for systemic reforms that might protect future victims. Their advocacy emphasizes that legal proceedings are not just about punishment, they are a vital tool for societal awareness and change. Kristen's story is heartbreaking, but tragically, it is not unique. Domestic violence remains a pervasive issue in the United States, often hidden behind closed doors. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner violence during their lifetimes, yet 70% of these cases go unreported, leaving victims isolated and vulnerable. The mortality rate associated with domestic violence is alarming. The CDC reports that nearly 1,500 women are killed by an intimate partner annually in the U.S., with countless others subjected to long-term physical and emotional trauma. Beyond the direct victims, domestic violence profoundly impacts children, families, and communities, perpetuating cycles of fear and instability. Awareness, intervention, and accessible resources are critical. Hotlines such as the National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-SAFE provide immediate support, while shelters and advocacy programs offer safe spaces and legal guidance for those attempting to leave abusive relationships. Kristen's story underscores the importance of vigilance and advocacy. Every voice counts. Neighbors noticing unusual behavior, friends offering support, and family members refusing to stay silent can collectively prevent harm. While the loss of Kristen Chavez is profound, her story has the power to inspire action, awareness, and change. By sharing her experience, we honor her memory and help ensure that others do not face the same hidden dangers she endured. Kristen Chavez's life was a testament to courage, compassion, and unwavering hope. She was more than a paralegal, more than a devoted sister, daughter, and friend. She was a beacon of light in the lives of everyone who knew her. Her intelligence, kindness, and love for her dogs reflected a heart that sought goodness, even in the darkest places. Yet, despite her resilience, Kristen faced a hidden battle many endure in silence: the brutality of domestic violence. Her tragic loss is a stark reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind the doors of seemingly ordinary homes. But Kristen's story does not have to end in despair. By sharing her journey, her family, and community aim to shine a light on a pervasive issue that too often remains hidden. Awareness is the first step toward prevention. Every neighbor, friend, and family member has the power to notice warning signs, speak up, and support those in dangerous situations. Domestic violence thrives in silence, but voices, advocacy, and intervention can save lives. We are called not just to mourn Kristen's life, but to honor it through action, supporting local shelters, reporting abuse, listening to those who confide in us, and educating ourselves about intimate partner violence can transform our communities. Each effort, no matter how small, carries the potential to prevent another tragedy. Kristen dreamed of justice in her professional life, and now, her legacy inspires a fight for justice in the lives of others. Though her life was taken too soon, her story lives on as a beacon for courage, awareness, and hope. Let her light guide us to protect, to speak, and to act so that no one else has to endure what Kristen endured. Her memory is a call to be vigilant, compassionate, and relentless in standing against domestic violence. If Kristen's story moved you, please like this video to show support for raising awareness about domestic violence. Share it with friends and family so more people can recognize the warning signs and help protect others. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more stories that inspire action and change. Every view, share, and comment helps keep her legacy alive.